Welcome back to the Hive Mind Headlines podcast, where we spotlight the people, programs, and ideas shaping the future of Branford Public Schools. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Tranberg, proud superintendent. Today's episode focuses on a powerful part of the student experience, athletics. While sports are often measured in wins and losses, the true impact of athletics goes far beyond the scoreboard. Our athletic programs help students build resilience, teamwork, accountability, discipline, and leadership skills that last long after graduation. In this episode, we're joined by our new Director of Athletics, Brian Zaklukiewicz, who shares his vision for the future of athletics in Branford and how creating meaningful opportunities for students remains at the center of our work. We'll also hear from Board of Education member and former Major League Baseball player Adam Greenberg, whose journey reminds us of the perseverance and mindset it takes to overcome challenges and lead with purpose. Also, we'll hear from some of our student-athlete leaders, students who are not only representing Branford with pride in competition, but who are also shaping positive culture in our schools and paving the way for others through their example. At Branford Public Schools, we believe leadership matters. Whether it's in the classroom, on the field, or in the court, or in the community, leadership creates opportunity, drives positive change, and strengthens connections. Athletics are one of the many places where those lessons come to life every single day. Thanks for joining us for this conversation. Let's dive in. Our first guest is Adam Greenberg, who is one of our very dedicated members of the Branford Board of Education, who has a strong connection to athletics. Adam, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So you've spoken before about how athletics have shaped your life long before you played professional baseball. What did your experience, if you think back to high school, what was that experience like, and why was it an important part of your life then?
It was the cornerstone of what I thought was my existence. And what I mean is it was the basis of my friend group. It was the basis of the start of really work ethic, drive, determination, trying to accomplish something. Yes, wins and losses, and how good could I be? How good could I be on a team? But it really was the pinnacle of that whole being of what am I, and what can I get out of myself? And everything and every lesson that I ever learned in sports was able to translate into school, whether I liked it or not. It was like, if you don't do school, then you can't play sports. And if you're not getting rest, then you're not able to perform. If you're not doing your work, it just all kind of meshed and melded together. But again, it was just the cornerstone of my life, and everything and every experience that I ever have and learn from, and obviously where it's taken me. But it was an amazing. It's everything for me.
So baseball was your sport. Were you playing other seasons as well, playing other sports, or were you in other types of leagues always focusing on baseball?
No, baseball, basketball, soccer, anything that you could play. Ping pong, pool, swimming, competitive, whatever. Anything that involved competition, I loved. And I know so many people nowadays think specializing is you have to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm totally in the opposite corner. Again, you're meeting different people. You have different friend groups. You're working different energy systems. Different sports are, more endurance, more quickness, agility. I mean, there's a million different reasons why you develop more as an athlete overall, doing different sports. And also, you don't have the same kind of burnout, where if you do something since you're 6 years old and that's all you do, it's a lot easier to burn out. So
was that a big motivator for you, would you say, in just coming to school and doing your best and being present, was that you knew you had this opportunity at the end of the day?
100%. I mean, and again, it doesn't take away whether somebody likes or does not like school or thinks they need it or don't. But being a part of a team and knowing that in order to go to practice, in order to play on the team, in order to be a part of that community, you had to do well in school. And I think it was very, very important, not just for me, but for everyone, because you're pushing yourself in one thing, one aspect of your life. So why would you just let the other one fall? Again, whether you like it or not. And that's, if you don't like conditioning, well, you have to do it to be on the team. But if you don't like schoolwork and if you don't do it, you don't get to play on the team. So it was a big motivator, I think, not just, again, for me, but for everyone who's playing.
Mm-hmm. And most people obviously don't leave high school and go on to become a professional athlete. However, that experience itself that you had is important. What are some of the transferable skills that you think athletes gain as just part of being part of a team when you're in high school?
It's called life. I mean, when you go through life, you're faced with challenges. And sports is you don't always win. Sports, you don't always have your best day. You have to get up and you have to help your teammates get up. Because if your poor attitude, if you have one, it's contagious. And then you see everyone else's heads go down, you're throwing equipment. It's a negative, it's a cancer. So when you learn what it takes to be on a winning team also, it's how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, and what you're doing when nobody's looking. And are you working hard? And are you bringing up your teammates? Because that's life. Mm-hmm. We all go through challenges. We all go through struggles. And whether it's sports, school, family, business, it's all it's all the same formula: work ethic, drive, determination, get up, work with others, help others, and attitude being your decision. You control it. You realize how much you actually do. And quickly we give it away, but it's bad call. It's my choice to how I react to that moment.
Yeah. And what's the role, when you think about coaches that you've had, because you've had many, like when you have a great coach, what are they doing to cultivate those skills, those transferable skills you're talking about?
Number one, they get the most out of you. They learn how to go to that place and find in you that you have more. And those are the ones that you remember. And when I think back, I'm like, those are the ones that a lot of people didn't like, because they challenged you in ways that you didn't feel like you needed to or didn't understand it at the time. But that's when, again, when life happens, challenges or what have you, you're like, well, I can overcome this. And I remember my high school soccer coach, he was tough. Mm-hmm. Like tough. And you didn't get a jersey. Like, you don't earn a jersey until the first day that you show up. It's 6 a.m. You got to run 2 miles in 12 minutes. Every single person on the team. And if you don't, every single day until you hit that mark, you have to do that. And we would have triple sessions. Now I know there's rules and stuff, which I don't agree with, but we had triple sessions. We didn't touch a soccer ball until our third session of the day. It was all conditioning. And it was that mentality. We were number 1 nationally ranked in the country. And so I'm able to look back, and everyone who went through that, you look back and you're like, man, he was onto something. Mm-hmm. And it's just getting the most out of you and knowing that, again, you're clapping and cheering for your teammates. Come on, you got to make it. And again, that's just one example, but the ones that were the most, that challenged you the most, were the ones that I appreciated the most, obviously later on in my life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Many people know your story, but a lot of people listening probably don't know your story. So can you talk about, so you're a college athlete, you make it to the MLB, and you had some highs and lows as to what happened. Can you just share that story with everybody?
Yeah, so I played 3 sports in high school: baseball, basketball, and soccer. I wanted to play Major League Baseball since I was 6, 7 years old, whatever. I didn't do that on purpose. But that was where I wanted to be. On TV, soccer wasn't really a thing back then. MLS, it was just, I wanted to play baseball, and I'm a little too short to play basketball, like professionally. Mm-hmm. But that was my motivator and my drive. I went to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Got a scholarship down there to play baseball, and had a tremendous, I was rookie of the year my freshman year, hit almost 400 all year. Like, it was pretty cool. And I'm like, I'm going to the major leagues. And next year I come back and I crushed my fingers in between 2 dumbbells, and my fingers were dangling from my hand. And first time I experienced not failure, but something was taken from me, because I had a really pretty awesome high school career. Never missed a game, never had an injury. And I got so dark into depression over my fingers that I couldn't play. I almost thought about quitting baseball and leaving UNC. Mm-hmm. And what was cool is I got to learn what depression was. I got to learn what being down in the dumps was. Got to learn how to overcome it, how to talk about it, how to work my way out. And then I had a good sophomore year. Junior year was really good. All-American, great statistics, and then I got drafted by the Chicago Cubs in the 9th round of the 2002 draft. I decided to forego my senior year in college. I'm not recommending people don't do school or whatever, but it was my dream, and I had accomplished what I needed to at school, and this was my opportunity of a lifetime. So I signed professional contract. I went to Lansing, Michigan. I played there, sat on the bench for 8 straight days in a row, looked myself in the mirror, was like, what the heck did I just get myself into? Living in a host family's house, making $850 a month for meal and $20 a day on meal money, in the middle of nowhere, playing for the Lansing Lugnuts. But it was one of those kind of moments where, you look yourself in the mirror and say, well, I chose this, just like we all do, other than where your parents say you have to go. I chose to play baseball, and I did all the sprints and did all the suicides and did all the swinging and all the practice to get there. So it was like, I can't feel bad for myself. It's flipped my mind, my attitude, and next thing you know, I was went into the locker room the next day, and I got promoted to Daytona, which was a higher level. Now, those that are listening go, yeah, you just flip your attitude and everything changes. Not exactly. But it gets your mind in a position where when opportunities are presented, if you're prepared for them, success could happen. I mean, I always look at it, success already happened because you were prepared, opportunity came. So it was like my 5th game in Daytona. I hit for the cycle, which is a single, double, triple home run in the same game in the first 4 innings of the game, which was the fastest recorded professional baseball cycle in history, which was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But what was important, it wasn't that I was struggling in the other place and then I'd have a great game. It was, I was prepared for that. And every single one of, we call them the brass. It'd be like the superintendent, the principal, like every one of your bosses were there. The scouting director, field coordinator, outfield roving instructor, they were all at that game. And I went from what's called a suspect, like who the hell are you, to a prospect, to man, this is one of our best guys, in 2.5 hours. Mm-hmm. But it was all the many, many hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and years of training to get to that moment. And that was my trajectory. And 2002, 2003, 2004, killing it. But not getting promoted, but just doing my thing and keep going with the mindset of, I don't care where I am, I'm just going to keep at it. 2005 came around, and there was my dream come true. I got the call of a lifetime. Major League Baseball was calling, ESPN, I'm watching them talk about me. And my roommate at the time, we got called up together. And you want to talk about, like, I'm 24 years old. I'm from, at the time, I grew up in Guilford, so Guilford, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. I'm 5'8 3/4. I have 0.0000937.5% chance to make it anyway. And then you add you're not that tall, you're not that this, right? Mm-hmm. And you go, you can't do this. Like, it's not possible. And here I was going to Major Leagues to play for the Chicago Cubs. And it was Sunday night, nationally televised game. My family comes down. It's not the same social media. And, it's just, there I was. It was windy. It was in Miami, stormy. And I got to pinch hit in the 9th inning of my first Major League game, and I go out there, and some dude's pitching. It's some guy. I didn't care. He had a white ball, a left hand. He's throwing it over the plate, and I'm hitting left-handed, and I was like, let's go. And in 0.3 of a second, that's what baseball is. When the ball is released, you got 0.3 of a second to not just make a decision of what you're doing, but to actually do it and make contact and hope it goes in a good place. So the first 1/10 of the second, the guy releases the ball. It's coming, right behind me because it's a left-hander coming up from behind me. And I'm like, stay in there, because if it's a breaking ball, like a curveball, and it comes over strike one and I bail out, I look like an idiot. On ESPN, everyone who was into sports and baseball was more than likely watching that game. And this is the first 1/10 of a second how I'm thinking, like, don't bail for all of those stupid reasons. 10-2 was like, oh, that ball is not, it's not a breaking ball. It's not curving. It doesn't have spin. So 10-3 was just kind of turned to try to get out of the way. And a 92-mile-an-hour fastball hit up under my helmet, square on my head. And it was the loudest explosion I'd ever heard in my life. It was like a shotgun right in my ear. And the pain was obviously a lot. But what was more is I thought that my head split open. It felt like my head just split. And I grabbed my head and I held it together. I was thinking like, I'm bleeding out. I'm going to die. My hands felt like they were wet and bloody. And it was the most scared moment of my life. So I went from the top of the world. I'm this dude who's in center field playing for the Chicago Cubs. And oh my God, am I going to die? And I said 2 words 3 times: stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. And that was the only thing that I could think about. And as my eyes rolled in the back of my head, and I was scared for my life.
Mm-hmm.
And couple what felt like minutes later, I never lost consciousness, but I opened my eyes, and the catcher who was standing over me, he's like, "Hey, stay down. You're going to be okay." That was like, again, you look at life and you're like, all right, how do you help somebody else? Well, that was a good way to help me, because he didn't say, go get towels, like freaking out. So I guess I wasn't bleeding and going to die. But that was the start of a incredible, insanely crazy 7-year journey to try to make it back. But when the training staff came over, they asked me the basic questions, right? You ask any medical trainer, what are they going to do when you get hit in the head? They're going to sit you up slowly, and they're going to put fingers in front of your face. They're going to say, how many fingers am I holding up? And they're going to follow my finger. And then I challenge people all the time. So this is like part of if I do a speech, I usually have them close their eyes and get them into this dark place, happy place, and say, imagine if those 2 things happen at the exact same instant, the best thing in the world for you and the worst feeling. You couldn't even comprehend what that means. But what I can tell people is sports or whatever you want to do, I don't care, it doesn't matter. I challenge, how much do you really want to do that? And what that means is, if it's something that's not where everyone really does do it or can do it, if it's something that matters to you, you got to work hard. You got to not just work hard. You have to live it, feel it, breathe it, like plan ahead for it. Every aspect of what you do goes into trying to accomplish that goal. And why I say that is because that's all I wanted to do was be there at that moment. Like nothing is going to stand in my way except a 92-mile-an-hour fastball to the back of my head. So the training staff asked the 3rd question, and this is where I challenge people. I say, how bad do you really want something? So I'm here, I'm about to be dead, and they say, where were you 2 days ago? And without pause, hesitation, or a thought, I just said, I was in the minor leagues and I'm not going back. Like, that's how badly I wanted to be there. It's like, okay, I almost died, but I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. But again, that was the start of a 7-year journey to ultimately try and make it back.
That's such an amazing story. And I'm thinking about, you worked so hard to get there, and you talked about the challenges you faced and having dealt with some depression. All of those things, as strange as it sounds, I'm thinking also prepared you to be able to handle
100%
that challenge you were facing in the moment.
Yep.
All right. So you had this incredibly long recovery period, more highs and lows, I'm sure that came with that. And this is actually airing in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I appreciate you sharing that part of the story. What was like a strategy that you used that was just helpful in just the drive and persevering and going forward?
Similar to anyone who does anything well or on a motivational level, it was, what can I do today to get a little bit better in anything? And you don't get to the finish line without starting. I mean, you're working on the competition that you're going to do.
Oh, my High Rocks competition.
So you're going to do the High Rocks.
Thanks. Let's memorialize that on a podcast. So now I really have to.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to let you off the hook, but you didn't start at the finish line. You didn't start at the finish line. You started training and working and building up, and it sucks some days, but you know you have to do it. And what I learned is you put your head between your legs. No, everyone who knows what a clock is, the only way it stops is, if it breaks the battery, it dies or whatever, but time doesn't stop. It goes with or without us. We have a limited amount of time here. So woe is me, stick my head between my legs and feel bad for myself. Okay, the human response. But then going through the challenges and struggles, you're like, where does that get me? I bring down other people. I feel bad. It doesn't move, but time keeps going, so I'm missing out. So when you're going through struggles, is what can I do just a little bit today to feel accomplished? And in the military, they talk about all the time, and well, get up and make your bed to start. If you can do that, you at least look at something that's accomplished. You're like, okay, a step in the right direction. And then you start to get into like motivational people, reading 10 pages of a book, challenging yourself daily. Again, if you can't walk, you can't move, you could do something to stimulate yourself to feel a little bit better. And again, those little bits every single day, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, is how you get out of something that's bad. And again, it doesn't take away, because I've been through a lot. My wife, my family, like go through losses, it doesn't change what happened and doesn't minimize like, oh, well, just get over it. But it says if you allow yourself to just quit, that's the whole point. Okay, well, who wins? Like, so that's how I try to, again, instill motivation on people, is by saying you have to do something for yourself. You can't just wait for it to happen, because there's no it. And if you do something every day, in whatever it is, as small as it is, you feel accomplished, well, then that's a step in a direction. And find a goal and go for it, because it kind of doesn't feel good trying to go through it, but you look back and you're like, man, I either lost weight, or I look better, I feel better, I'm healthier, I made somebody else happy. Like, all those things are part of it.
So it's like the combination of, you mentioned mindset, but also the will to do something about it. So fast forward, you probably weren't ever thinking you're going to be on a board of education in a town next to where you grew up. But I feel like just talking to you and hearing your story, this comes across all the time in how you serve as a board member and what you want for the community. So when you think about our athletic program, and it has room to grow, and I think you've shared that, the board has shared that, and we have a great new athletic director who has a vision. What are your hopes for what we can do for programming here?
As much as possible, for as many people as possible to participate in all sports, and I say sports, it's also music, it's also arts, it's whatever individualized thing that makes you happy and feel like you're a part of something that you're striving for as an individual or as a team. And facilities is a big thing, because where we live is challenging with weather. And kids who miss a lot of games or practices, they miss out not only because you don't have a lot of weather or court time available. I mean, there's a million different things that I can get into that we've talked about. But facilities is a big thing. The right leadership, obviously, on the athletic director side, which I think we've done a great job. I'm really excited about that. Who understands that coaches have to be able to be coaches. Coaches have to be what I was talking about in the beginning. You got to be able to challenge these kids. You have to be able to feel okay by making decisions because you earned something. You earned it through your work, your work ethic, your drive, winning every sprint, being the leader on the court or on the field. All of those things are not, again, maybe not politically correct, but we're always trying to win. And I don't mean win the game, but it's you do want to win, and you want to bring everyone along with you. And again, so facilities, leadership, the right coaches, and realizing that these kids and these parents don't run the program. So being confident as a unit to say you can have communication, and very important, but setting standards and guidelines at the beginning is critical to say this is who we are. We run hard. We play hard. We train hard. We try to win. Like, all those things are important. And again, the times that we live in are kind of weird. So like I mentioned, like triple sessions, I think it's awesome. Like, I think it's awesome because it makes it brings out. So, and I'm not going against like laws and rules. I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying in general, like, we should be able to coach how we need to coach to bring the best out of our kids. And every kid needs to be handled differently because they have different personalities. But again, I'm passionate about this, and because of what it's done for my life and what I've seen positive impacts on others. But yeah, I think we're going in the right direction is where I'm going.
That's great. And I think it is important to mention, yes, athletics, we want as many students to be involved as possible. But I remember back to my days as a high school principal, it was my goal. I wanted every kid to be involved in something.
Something.
I didn't care what the thing was. I just wanted everyone to have their thing so they could find their people. It's a really important part about the experience. So let's end with, what advice would you give to aspiring student athletes who are balancing academics, athletics, all the pressures that come with being in high school, who do aspire and have like a big goal to be an athlete?
It's the only person you have to listen to of what you want is yourself. Do it for you and be selfish in that. And that, and again, weird to say, but if you're not going after your goal and you're listening to other people of what you should do or can you make it, they don't live in your life. So it's going to take tremendous work ethic, drive, determination, commitment, and it might not work out exactly how you think. But all of those skills that you're putting in will, and I hated hearing this, hated, when people would say, oh, well, even if you don't make it, you'll be great at whatever it is that you do. That really bothered me. But I look back and I go, okay, you because I gave it everything that I had on the field, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, okay, well, it was my choice to either keep going or to stop. The balancing act and the pressure is all on you also. So no one's putting pressure on you. It's again kind of hard to say, but you are the one who's doing the schoolwork. You're the one who's playing the game. I always when I coach people, I always say, who's your best coach you've ever had? And, always well, should I say you? Should I say what? And my answer is, okay, whoever it was, who's the best coach you ever will have? And I say, well, what's your answer? And then they usually look at me like, was it you? I said, no, it's you. You're your best coach. So being the coach, you motivate yourself. You tell yourself, what do you want to do? You go after it as hard as you want. And if it works, you can lay your head down on your pillow and say, I gave it everything that I had. And that was why I never quit after all the years to try to make it back. Because people would say, why are you doing this? You made it already. And it's like, I wasn't satisfied. And the day that I laid my head down the pillow after I made it back for the second time and got a call up and was all over the news and it was so cool. And one day I woke up and I said, I don't want to go to the field anymore. So again, just make it your choice. Put in your work and your drive and put the pressure away that you think other people are putting on you, and just do it because you want to.
Next, I'd like to welcome two rising seniors at Branford High School, Luke Gagliardi and Lily Panuccio. Each of them has demonstrated leadership in different ways throughout their time at BHS, both in the classroom and through athletics. We're excited to hear more about their experiences, the role athletics has played in shaping their journey so far, and the lessons they hope to pass along to the next generation of student athletes. All right, Luke and Lily, welcome to the podcast. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you both to get started, just introduce, to say your name, and what sports and other clubs activities you've been part of since you've been at BHS.
I'm Luke. I'm involved in football, winter track, and lacrosse. I'm captain of the winter track and lacrosse team, and I'm also involved in National Honor Society and Italian Club.
I'm Lily. I play field hockey and lacrosse. I'm currently captain for lacrosse right now, but next year I will be for field hockey as well. And I'm also involved in Honor Society and the Bring Change to Mind Club.
Awesome. So why is being involved in athletics important to both of you? And what would you say is some impact it's had on your high school experience?
Well, for me, I think athletics, it not only gets me active, but it brings me a group of friends. So specifically, I remember freshman year, every morning in the summer, we'd have to come in for football workouts. And I was really scared, coming to the high school. It's a brand new experience, but football kind of gave me a set group of friends and some upperclassmen I could look at, and they could show me around and help me adjust to my new setting.
I also agree with Luke with playing field hockey, but I also like that sports gives you structure, and it gives you like set thing to do every day. While it might make you a little busy, it's definitely fun and worth it.
Great. You're both tapping into some other questions I had. And one of them was about thinking about freshmen who maybe they haven't been involved in many activities or sports, but they're wanting to like try something. Would you encourage them to give it a try? And why is it important to do that? And why is it important to be involved in general?
Yeah, I definitely would, especially like Luke and I said in the fall, because I'm pretty sure all the fall sports start earlier in the summer. So you like come in and you meet everybody, and at least with field hockey, we give the freshmen a tour around the school. So they and by then they have their schedules, so we go around and show them where each of their classes are and talk about the teachers. And I think that definitely for me as a freshman was a really good way to kind of get my grounding. And again, like meet new like friends and already come in kind of knowing what you're going to be dealing with.
I would definitely recommend sports for freshmen. Every sports team I'm a part of at the high school is like extremely exclusive. Like it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. You know, we're all just together having fun, and it could just end up being a really valuable experience for everyone.
Yeah. And also you don't have to come in knowing anything. Like you can be like terrible, and you know, you'll still be a part of the team and get the experience. So.
Okay, that's important. That was my question. Like, do you have to know the sport to come in, or can you come in and just try?
Definitely not. Just as long as you're like trying your best and you know you like it, then it'll be a good fit.
So I don't know if you know this. This is the month of May when this will be airing, and it's also Mental Health Awareness Month. So Lily, you kind of alluded to this a little bit. Like, how do you balance athletics, academics, having a personal life? And what advice would you give to other students about how do you manage stress and avoid burnouts being as involved as you both are?
Yeah, it's definitely tough because I also do club sports outside of school, and I think Luke does as well. And it definitely is tough at first, but I think just over time you kind of just like find your support system, like in your coaches and your parents. I definitely lean on my mom a lot. And I think that there's no like specific like recipe for getting good at it. You just kind of have to like go with it as time goes on and you'll get used to it. But
I'd say athletes definitely operate different than other students. You kind of have to figure out what you want to prioritize. Like homework and schoolwork is definitely the number one. You gotta have to find time for that. Then you have to go to practice, and then I would say your social life would come after that. But it's all about making a schedule and finding time for everything you need to get done.
So has there been something that's worked for you? Because you mentioned, I think earlier, something that said structure or routine. Like what works? Like when do you do your homework, or do you have set times where these are my non-negotiables? It's how I work it out.
I try to get it done right after school so I could just have everything set for me and then just go on with the rest of my night.
Yeah, I would agree. Practice times changes. Sometimes it's like we practice right after school, but I know for field hockey we start at we have to get there at 6 and we go to 9. So I'd say the time in between when you get back from school and when you have to head to practice is pretty valuable because nobody wants to be doing homework at 10 at night after you shower and whatnot. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. So don't wait until after is kind of the...
Procrastinating will not be
never
your friend.
Works.
Yes, I always say hope is not a strategy. And
No.
so just do the work. All right, so in what ways, if you think about the experience, have you had, not just being part of a team, has athletics shaped your own confidence, your leadership skills, and the way you interact with others? Do you think there's transferable things? Yes, you're on these teams, you've been captains, but what does that look like when you're not on the team? How does it affect who you are?
I'd say I feel like confidence is a pretty big thing. And I feel like once you kind of get in a good standing with your team and you kind of feel good there, that group kind of it'll make you feel more confident, especially if you're in the season, you have a good game. And I think at school it's kind of nice because people hear about it, and I think that's make yourself feel more confident in school because you have a team to back you up. And I guess I'd say as captains, I'd feel that is a pretty valuable part of learning leadership. And I think that's, of course, pretty transferable to school, like being in clubs and honor society and whatnot. I think it gives you like a sort of drive, and that's definitely very helpful in school.
Great.
Yeah, sports definitely have helped me, like, work with my classmates. Because when you're on a team, you have to work together, like, in order to get the win or, like, whatever you want to do. You have to work together, so that's definitely transferred in school. And then, like Lily mentioned, the work ethic, especially in football. We're out there all summer at 6 a.m. lifting weights. It's hard work, but it definitely comes back to the classroom when you have to get your assignments done.
All right. So we're going to fast forward and imagine it's the end of your senior year. When you think back about your experiences as an athlete in Branford, what will you be proud of?
Okay. I agree totally with Lily. A motto that we have on the football team for our senior class is "Leave it better than you found it." And pretty much what that means is you just want to benefit the program in a positive way. Not so much about wins and losses, but your impact on your teammates. And I think I'll be most proud of, how I affected the underclassmen and how I've taught them, how to be a good person and how to be a good student and athlete. And I think I'll be most proud of, just the impact I had on these people's lives, because the thing I remember most about my freshman year were the seniors on the football team. They really taught me how to be a good man, and I'll just remember everything they've done for me, still to this day.
That's great. That's a perfect place to end. Thank you both for taking time to join the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited to welcome Branford Public Schools' new Athletic Director, Brian Zaklukiewicz. Brian is already a familiar face to many in our community through his work as a health and physical education teacher, and this past year he served in the role of interim athletic director. Earlier this spring, he was officially named athletic director, and we're looking forward to hearing more about his vision for Branford athletics, the importance of building strong student experiences, and the future of our athletic programs. We're happy to welcome Brian to the Hive Mind Headlines podcast. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you officially stepped in as athletic director this spring after your interim AD position. What's exciting you most about leading Branford athletics, and what is your, let's say, big vision for the future of the program?
Sure. So I think one of the things that's most exciting for me leading Branford athletics is kind of a double-edged sword because there's been so much turnover in the athletic director role. It kind of gives me the opportunity to start fresh, right? I do have relationships with coaches and students, and I know a little bit of the lay of the land. So it's nice to be able to come in and not be stuck to a specific system in the past. What excites me most about stepping into this role, I think, is the energy surrounding Branford Public Schools and athletics specifically right now. Our sports teams are doing really well. Our field hockey team won a state championship this year. And I think looking 3, 5, 7, 10 years down the line, I think there's some significant changes coming that will dramatically benefit Branford athletics.
So I think one of the challenges when you are familiar with a community, you have pre-existing relationships. So since this whole first season focuses on this big concept of leadership, I think it's just a good lesson of what can be challenging about that part of the job when people already know you as something else or someone else in some ways.
Right. And especially in my role, I came here, I was the youngest PE teacher in the department by a couple of years, right? So I was very much the new guy coming in. So fast forward a couple of years, now I find myself in charge of the health and PE department along with athletics. So it's definitely a flip of a switch. I think the benefit that I have is my leadership style is not authoritarian disciplinarian, right? I've always been very conversational, focused on the relationship building and empathy. So I kind of just rely on that. I try to just be me. It's corny, right? But people kind of know what they're going to get when they approach me to have a conversation. I think, and I mentioned this in my interview, I think one of the hardest things for me making the change is this level of assertiveness, right? Nobody wants to be the bad guy or looked down upon. But there are certainly times where when we talk about the like I talk about my 5 pillars of success, the first one is student athletes first. So at the end of the day, every decision I make comes back to what's best for student athletes. So I think I lean more on like standards and accountability versus like trying to make things feel like personal attacks.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about your pillars? You don't need to do all of them, but
Sure.
just like where did this come from? Because it's certainly in all the conversations we've had, they have really come back as your core values and
Yeah.
how you're leading.
Yeah, so when I came into the role, it's like the role is so chaotic. It's high stress. It's quick decision making. And so I found myself like I need a system to kind of guide all the decisions that I'm making. So I came up with these 5 pillars. The first one is student athletes first. Like I said, everything comes back to student athletes and their experience. They are the stakeholders, right? Like we prepare the programs, we schedule the programs, we try to teach and develop. But at the end of the day, it's their team, it's their program, it's their experience. The second one is education through athletics. I'm a big believer that athletics is one of the best places to teach kids those leadership skills that they'll need in life, the resilience, the discipline, the advocacy. That's probably one that I hit the hardest with my coaches. In all my preseason meetings, I make sure to tell them, like, if you see a kid displaying those leadership qualities, like call it out because they don't necessarily know it, right? Like, hey, the way you advocated for Johnny was awesome. The third one is effort over outcome. This idea that like we don't care about scoreboards, we don't really care about what anybody else is doing. We're focused on what we're doing and how we can be the best versions of ourselves. Number 4 is accountability and professionalism. Just this underlying idea, right, that like we represent Branford and we want to do that in a positive light. And the last one is community pride. I think athletics is a staple in the community. Certainly in Branford specifically, there's a long history of tradition here. You walk around downtown, you see people wearing Branford football shirts from 30 years ago. They have that pride. So I think it's just a matter of just connecting them a little more with school and community.
Yeah, and that's a good point about the Branford Pride. When I came here, one of the things that surprised me was the number of people that let me know very early in the conversation that they were born here, they were raised here, they went to school here, and now they're raising their own family here.
Yeah,
So-
the running joke, when I started here, I had the same like aha moment. And so the running joke is fast forward a year later, my wife and I bought our house in Branford and now we're here. So it's like, it's a good community. It's so supportive. I mean, you're right on the water. It's beautiful. So once you come, you never leave.
Yeah, it's a special place for
Yeah.
sure. Can you tell us a little bit about like thinking about, okay, how did you get here? Like what's your story as to the role that athletics have played in your life and how it shaped you?
Sure. Athletics has played a huge role in my life. I think I didn't realize that I wanted to be an athletic director until a little later. I think I always wanted to like work with kids and be a mentor. But I think, you know, when I was in high school, I was not a very good student. I was like near the bottom of my class. And I was just kind of concerned about anything other than school. And so I think that for me, the coaches in that building were the reason why I even like graduated, right? They were the only ones that could kind of hold me to a standard and hold me accountable. So I came into a teaching role. I came to the high school, I was teaching health and PE classes and, you know, building relationships and mentoring kids. And then the opportunity for the athletic director kind of opened up and I started really thinking about like, what does that look like for me specifically? And I think one of the things that stood out to me was this idea to get to program and build relationships with kids and to kind of build a program that kids want to be a part of. So I think that's one of the things that draws me to the position the most.
Yeah, and in that spirit, I talked with the other guest in this episode about the importance of being involved. And it doesn't have to be athletics, but when you are with a group, why is that important?
Yeah, I think it's that sense of community. It's that sense of belonging. You know, I hear it all the time, maybe just the world I live in, but like for a lot of kids, athletics is a big reason why they come to school, right? So I think it's important that we give them leaders and mentors and role models that they can build relationships with and they can see themselves in, and just kind of continue to build those programs. I think the second part of it is just trying to grow athletics in general, right? Obviously, like I have my 5 pillars that we talked about earlier in the episode. So those kind of set the stage for the vision or the overall program that I'd like to develop here at Branford. But as far as some specifics go, yeah, I think what we're trying to do big picture is build something that goes kind of beyond wins and losses, right? I have this running joke. I don't do a lot of things well. One of the things I do well is build culture. And so I think like sticking with my strengths, just really trying to enhance the culture that's surrounding Branford athletics. We want to create great competitors, strong students, and ultimately, right, we're trying to guide these students from learners to leaders and give them those leadership skills and qualities that they can use for the rest of their life. Obviously, a huge part of the vision and a huge part of any athletics program is the connection to the community. We want members of Branford High School and Branford Athletics to feel proud, whether you're a parent, an alumni, or a young athlete looking to come up the ranks. You know, I'm a big energy guy, right? So I'm trying to encourage kids to come to our games and fill up our student bases and just kind of help invest in showing our student athletes that we care about them and we are here to support them. I think it's a really good time to come into this role, right? There are a lot of changes going on at central office, and I have a really good working relationship with our director of facilities, Brendan Letty. And so, you know, him and I meet regularly, and we work really closely to try to improve this concept of setting, right? Like we talked about, like the footprint is kind of the footprint of Branford High School. So when we sit down a lot of times, like how can we give these kids a setting and a place, an athletic facility that they really aspire to come to, right? That gives them that energy and shows them that we take them seriously, and we hope that they take the program seriously. I think another thing is vertical alignment, right? This concept of bringing our youth programs and our high school programs together. We're a part of the SEC, the Southern Connecticut Conference, and I think we do a really good job. We have monthly athletic director meetings, so I'm with a lot of the guys in surrounding towns, and we're often talking about this. And it seems like a lot of towns do a really good job of building that connection and building that excitement from you know, preschool, the smallest youth levels, and kind of promoting and pushing this idea that like, it is exciting to be a part of that high school team. And then finally, we just want to continue elevating Branford athletics, not only in the SEC, but in the state of Connecticut. You know, obviously, we want to be known for having competitive programs, and everybody wants to win state championships and stuff. But like I said, we're really focused on culture. So, you know, how I present myself when I go to meetings and when I interact with other ADs and other administrators in the state is really important to me. You know, when our student athletes travel to other facilities and when we welcome other guests into ours, I think it's really important that you welcome them and that you do put your best foot forward and you show them the amazing people and community that we have here in Branford.
So when you think about your time in this role so far, is there anything that jumps out as something you're particularly proud of?
One of the biggest things that I'm most proud of is this leadership academy that we started. So it's myself, Coach Lamone, our head football coach, and Miss Kohut. She is our head girls soccer coach and our head boys golf coach. We offer it during our Hive Choice time, so it's 30 minutes. We run it for a quarter at a time. And this year we made it a mandatory prerequisite to captainship for the following school year. And it's really funny. It was just kind of an informal conversation. Like a couple of coaches were sitting in my office talking. We're like, man, we wish kids did this, and we wish that they would just know that it's this and that. So we're like all at the same time, like had this, oh, what? We can do that, right? Mm-hmm. So we started this leadership academy. I think it's been really good. We talk about different leadership styles. We talk about like leadership isn't one size fits all. We give them like specific scenarios. We have them reflect on positive and maybe not so positive leaders they've had and how they want to form their leadership style. So I think that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of. I think next year and the following year we'll start to really see those benefits, those strong leaders on our athletics programs and just in school in general. I think that's probably the one thing that I'd like to hang my hat on. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you and I have a common value in this idea. We've talked about it of setting mm-hmm. and quoting the Walt Disney, the book about how important it is for the experience people are having and optically how things sure. look. And so we've made some great improvements to facilities. Yep. But just so it's out there, what is your vision of like where do we want attention to some of our athletic facilities?
Yeah, I think it's really taking what we have and reimagining it and then cleaning it up a little bit. I think one of the first things that comes to mind would be turfing that baseball and softball field. I think it's a multi-use field. So during the spring, it's baseball, softball. During the fall, it's boys and girls soccer. It's an extra practice field for football and field hockey. And it can be a little wet. And there's birds on it. So I think that would probably be like a first one. I think getting some turf there would be awesome. This summer, we're starting the Tally Seapot renovation. So that'll kind of clean up a little bit of the seating over by tennis. And then I'm working to clean up the rest of it. I want to get some tennis screens and block the Dunkin' Donuts side there. So as you're sitting, you have a backdrop. I want to get some new wind screens for baseball, softball, and clean the place. And then I know, not immediately, but I think we are looking at turf and track in the next foreseeable future. That's towards the end of its life. And I think maybe there's a way we can parlay that, talking with Brendan, our director of facilities. Maybe there's a way we can parlay that into like finding a little bit of extra space somewhere.
Mm-hmm. When you think about the culture of the athletics department, what do you hope students, families, and the community will say about their experience? So seniors graduating, and what's their look back? What would you hope that they would say about their experience?
Yeah, I hope it's positive, and I hope that when they look back, they know that the adults in this building cared about them. It's those relationships, right? Those are the things. I read Stuart Scott's book. He's an ESPN announcer, and he has a great quote, and it's like, life is, at the end of the day, life is 2 dates and a dash. And the goal is to make the most out of the dash. So you just try to fit in, right, as much positivity and as much relationships and optimism as you can into that little dash. So I think when people look back, I want them to say that they had a positive experience, that they learned about themselves through athletics, and that they know the adults here really cared about them.
Great. That's a perfect spot to end. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this journey and for being such an important part of what makes Branford an amazing place to live, learn, and grow. You can catch new episodes of Hive Mind Headlines on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and our district website at branfordschools.org. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review to help others find the show. Let's celebrate all that makes Branford special.